I think that we are at a point in time where, as humans, we are beginning to rediscover this connection to something that is beyond the material world. That's one point. I think ayahuasca is a substance, and I would call it a sacred substance that can facilitate the direct experience of that beyondness for people all over the world. So that's one thing that I think is important. Secondly, it's a healing medicine. And I mean that like in a literal physical way, it can be healing. There were two women there from Chile, two sisters, and one woman was there with her sister who had cancer. And both of these women were regularly taking part in the ayahuasca ceremonies that I was a part of. And one of the women, when she came in, I was down there for a total of 3 weeks. We drank 7 times while I was down there. But this woman, when she came in, was like literally her skin was yellow and she was unable to walk. Within 2 weeks, she like walked out of the jungle on her own. I mean, it was pretty amazing. So I think ayahuasca is a sacred medicine that has physical healing capabilities. And that's an important point that I think should be brought up, because some people can't really comprehend that, or they think it's just some sort of psycho-spiritual, emotional thing. But I actually think it has physical healing powers when it's harnessed properly. On a personal level, it has helped me to really appreciate in the most profound way everything that I've been given in this life. In a way that, I think it's not that I think that I'm incapable of achieving this sort of appreciation without drinking ayahuasca, but I drank ayahuasca and it definitely took me right there. So for example, I had a very happy childhood, and during my time in the jungle drinking ayahuasca, I relived my entire childhood, like over and over and over again, and just gained the most profound appreciation for my family and my friends and the people that I'm close to, and just realized how important that is. And ayahuasca definitely opens you up to this sort of like the love dimension, I guess I would call it. So I think love is like the highest ideal and the most important thing that exists in the universe, like period. And so ayahuasca is, as a medicine, I think, fosters that idea and really just gently pounds it into you. I've also had a very, very traumatic experiences with ayahuasca. I've relived, there was during one ceremony that I had down in Peru where I literally on repeat relived, or just replayed over and over and over again. It was like a loop playing in my head of all the things that I didn't like about myself and my life. And, really kind of like going into that inner critic lens to the maximum degree. And it was a very, very painful experience, physically painful as well. And this is also something that ayahuasca tends to do. It brings into the physical reality the emotional traumas that you have, I guess, suppressed within your psycho-spiritual, physical system somehow. So, like for example, when I was having this very traumatic experience on ayahuasca and everything was looping in my head, all the terrible things about my life, I could feel it in my body too. So I felt like I had this giant festering armadillo growing in my stomach, and I couldn't get it out. And every negative thought that I had about myself, I could feel it in my body. But then there's a part of the process of the ceremony called the purging, when you eventually you throw up, but it's like you're collecting in a physical sense all this emotional baggage that you've stored up in your life, and like letting go of it. It is something that can really, it did this for me personally. in very deep ways. I mean, I went through very deep spiritual and emotional healing, evolving past emotional blocks and gaining further insight into my own life and my own nature and what's really important to me, and opening my eyes to things like this. And there's also like this whole other aspect of communication with the plant world, and there's a plant, it's a, ayahuasca is a combination of plants, but we tend to be living under this, I would say, sort of like veil, and in that we think that we are the highest form of consciousness that exists on this planet, and I actually don't think that that's true at all. And my direct personal experiences with ayahuasca have definitely told me otherwise. So I think there are higher intelligences operating to help guide us through our evolution as human beings, and ayahuasca is a part of that as well. To sum up, I've learned a lot from ayahuasca, but some of the most important things are just the lessons of appreciation and love, and learning where I can do better in my life in a very deep and meaningful way. I think that we are in a period of time in history that is representative of an evolution of human consciousness. And something that goes in line with that, I would say, is this sort of increase in real spirituality. And that's a very personal thing. And I'm talking about spirituality in a form that is outside of dogma and institutionalized ideas that have been, placed into people's heads by organized religions for years and years and years and years. We're moving past that realm into the realm of direct, personal, spiritual experience. And I think that's amazing. I think that's wonderful. I think that is something that the world needs. I think it's something that we all need for ourselves if we want to make a leap together to live in a world where we can all love each other and be happy. I mean, that's ideally, I think, I don't see why anybody would not want that. Then I think this is a necessary step in that process. Hopefully you can edit all this somehow to like make something cohesive out of my really
hey,
incoherent rambling.
It's okay.
Okay.
It's okay.